Everyone's watched a movie before where halfway through you just pick up on one key detail and you're able to piece together the entire ending. You're just able to sit back and watch as your predictions unfold in front of you like you wrote the script yourself. That's honestly the best part of watching a movie or show, picking up on those little hints and foreshadowings that the director slid in there thinking nobody would notice. You noticed though. This is what makes mind-bending movies like Shutter Island and Inception so damn good. They reward you for thinking beyond the usual intellect of a 4th grader. But anime can't do this. Anime can be boiled down to a formula 99% of shows use. The protagonist starts weak. They get stronger and stronger. They struggle to some point where they almost quit, and they lock back in and beat the big bad. It's a formula as old as time, and honestly, it's fine. But it's so generic and predictable, it removes any question of whether the good guy is going to win. They're always going to win. Look at One Piece, Naruto, My Hero Academia, Blue Lock, or Kaijo. Okay, so the last one is about high school girls using their butts to knock each other off platforms, but I promise you, even that show follows this formula. Anime where we're explicitly told the main character's dream from the start are predictable because we know exactly where the story will end. Luffy will become the king of the pirates, Naruto is going to become the Hokage, Deku inevitably becomes the #1 hero, Isekai becomes the world's greatest striker, and even the butt-fighting anime, our protagonist becomes the best butt-slinger this world has ever seen. This isn't necessarily bad. One Piece is my favorite piece of fiction ever, but stories like this create a sense of linearity that limits speculation. We know where Luffy will start, and we know where he ends, so the only mystery is how he gets there. And I know, people are already typing, Danny, it's the journey that matters, not the destination. And sure, I agree, but personally, both matter. If the destination is guaranteed, why would I care the road we take? Think about it like this. If I told you that 20 years down the line, you're a billionaire and you are living your dream life, and that nothing you do right now can change that future, in 20 years you will be a billionaire, what would you do tomorrow? I'll go ahead and tell you, you would do absolutely nothing important. You would kick rocks for 2 whole decades because you know that your future is set in stone. If the future is guaranteed, the stakes disappear. And even though that sounds like a dream in real life, who wants to watch an anime without stakes? So how does anime get around this? Well, some shows like Demon Slayer substitute writing for action. The story is basic, but the animation is so insane that you forgive it. You're basically watching people summon the sun with swords, and sometimes that's better than good writing. But a handful of anime go against this trope, so here are the shows that I want to glaze today. The easiest example of this is Death Note. A funny thing I learned recently is that most people root for L their first time watching Death Note. He's a symbol for good, and when I watched it though, Light was the protagonist, and he's the one we follow, so honestly, I wanted to see him succeed in becoming this world's new god. This split is exactly what makes the show so great though. Most anime let the protagonist win because most people like a happy ending. But in Death Note, both L and Light could be considered protagonists, meaning they literally can't both win. And then the writers go and kill the show by making them both lose, but this world isn't ready for that conversation yet. Another great example is Hunter x Hunter. In a way that probably shouldn't work for any other show, from the beginning, we're told Gon's dream. It's something so simple to meet his dad, it's so grounded that even reaching it doesn't feel like the end of the world or forcing world peace. So after he accomplishes it, the story just moves on. And because Gon's character arc is essentially complete, he gets sidelined. This is so genius, but it really only works because Hunter x Hunter is built completely different than any other anime. Imagine watching Bleach and after Ichigo saves Rukia for the first time, he just leaves the show and Chad becomes the MC. Now, I'm not saying that anime with set goals are bad. And I'm definitely not saying that anime needs a protagonist to lose to be deep or dark or edgy or something, but there is a line between a character setting a goal and the story accidentally spoiling its own ending. I used One Piece as an example earlier, but I actually think that One Piece does an amazing job at subverting expectations through misdirects. I said Luffy will become the king of the pirates by the end of the series, but actually One Piece has set up so many other ways the story could go, I'm not confident enough to bet on that yet. No matter how many times Luffy and his crew tell the enemy that Luffy will become the king of the pirates, it's also foreshadowed that that title won't even exist anymore in the future, or maybe Blackbeard takes it first, or maybe Buggy gets through on his promise of becoming the pirate god. Honestly, that's the one I would want to see the most. But finally, let's talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. When the final arc was releasing weekly, I was glued to the community, and my favorite theory was the one that fit the dark themes of the show perfectly. The good guys would lose, and Sukuna would reshape the world into a battle-centric hellscape. And honestly, this makes sense. The entire story was showing that the good characters can die, our protagonists are not safe, and Sukuna is a real threat. So even though the ending was a stereotypical good guys win, I didn't mind it because the story kept both directions believable until the very end. That's the mark of good writing. You can't make plot twists too insane or the viewer feels cheated, and you can't make them too obvious or people figure it out after the first episode. The only thing worse than a set ending is a set ending with an obvious path. Imagine if in Blue Lock, all Isugi ever did to get better was run on a treadmill. Would we feel satisfied? No, that path is way too simplistic, nobody would watch that show. It's all about walking that fine line between not too obvious and not too random, and unfortunately too many stories take the easy route. But that's just one man's take. I mean, I also love a sit-down anime where you can turn your brain off and one cool guy just punches another cool guy. That's exactly why solo leveling exists. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Was my answers to this video essay too obvious, or do you think I'm right on the money? If you like this video, please consider leaving a like, consider subscribing, or maybe even commenting. But until next time, my name is Danny aka Floppy. Peace.